we're still working on our skirt. Continuing on to step 1B, we finished step 1A, which was this stay stitch basting stitch. We left the thread legs. We did not do a back stitch. And now we're moving on to our darts. So you have a little drill hole. I went ahead and put them in red because we couldn't see them enough. And we've got our notches up here in the top. And if you need to mark those for yourself so you can see them as well, you can do that too. Here's that drill hole. So I'm marking in pen because this is a sewing sample that I don't need to wear. I would mark in much lighter things if it's a garment you want to wear. So once you fully understand the notches and where that drill hole is, we're going to take that dart, we're going to fold this in half, we're going to put a pin at the top of the waist, putting the two notches together, and then we're going to mark a 1/2 inch past our drill hole as this is folded in half like so. That's going to be our dart tip, 1/2 inch past that drill hole. And then we can go ahead and we can draw the dart. Some little dashed lines are just fine for sewing. Then we're going to take a pin and we're going to go ahead and secure the dart tip so we see exactly where we're supposed to end. And we're going to repeat that with all the darts for our front right waist. I've got them all pinned and all marked, and I'm ready to start. So I'm going to take my sewing machine and I'm going to put the stitch length back to 2.5. And I'm going to start on my dart here, removing the pin at the waist, dropping the foot down, and putting the needle right on that mark, which is our notch and the top of our dart. So we're going to go forward, and you can make a little reverse back stitch, and then we're going to sew and we're going to aim for that tip, and there was the end, right so. And so we have a choice what to do at the end. We could stop and take the thread legs and tie a square knot, or we can do a little bit of a reverse stitch and have this go up into the dart area that is not going to affect the dart, hopefully. Make a little reverse stitch up here. Here's our first dart. We're going to trim it. And we ended with back stitches. And we're leaving these thread legs on here for the waist. Leave those on. We're going on to our next dart. I'm going to remove the straight pin up here at the waist. Press her foot up, needle up, needle down, press her foot down. We're going to go forward and a little bit of a back stitch. See, that fabric was moving. It's a little back stitch. Now we're going to go diagonally down to our dart tip. And we see where we're going to end, right over here. So you can go slower towards the tip. And then now we're right at the tip and we can do a little reverse. Little back stitch. And go ahead and trim. Nice and close. We've got one dart done. Our second dart. Let's go ahead and trim at the waist. Okay, great. Let's continue on. So while working on the front of the skirt, you can notice that the 4 darts are about the same length. So that's what we're going for. And that's also a way that you can see the difference between the front and the back. So we're starting forward, little back stitch up there at the top, then going down here at the diagonal, seeing where we're going to end here at the dart tip. There we go, one last stitch right to the tip. And now we'll do a little bit of a reverse. So when we move on to the back, you'll see that the back has a set of short darts and long darts. So you can usually tell the difference between the front and the back with the dart length for skirts and pants. We've got one more dart here for the front. Start with a little back stitch. Go down on the diagonal. Notice where the tip is. Remove the pin before you get there. Let's do a reverse. Let's go ahead and trim. Nice and close. And we've done all the darts for the front. Set that aside. Let's go ahead and do the darts for the back. So I've gone ahead and marked 3 out of the 4 darts. And I left one of the longer ones for us to work with together. This is the back. Looks almost like the front, except sometimes, like I said, the darts are longer. You can mark those notches if you can't see them cut open. You can go ahead and mark them with some chalk, pencil, pen if it's a dark fabric, something that's not going to ruin your garment or project. Let's take a pin and put those 2 notches together at the waist. This is the drill hole. We need to go a 1/2 inch past this. So let's go ahead and mark that. That was the drill hole. 1/2 inch past it is the dart tip. We will be sewing to the dart tip. Let's also go ahead and mark our stitch line from the dart tip up to the waist. Preferably with pencil or chalk that dusts away. Let's put that pin right there at the tip. And now we have completed all 4 of those markings for our back waist darts, and we will sew them. Press your foot down, needle down. Let's start with the back stitch. So forward, backwards. Our sewing machine, the stitch length is set at 2.5. Notice where the tip is. I'm going to finish right there at the tip. And then we want to go ahead and do a reverse stitch. Trim up the threads. Let's go on to our next dart. Remove the pin. Drop the presser foot down. Needle down. Forward. Backwards. Remove the pin before you get there. Last stitch. Now we'll do the back stitch. Notice every time I do the back stitch for the dart tip, I'm not going back on that line, I'm going right in the tip area here, so I'm not causing a point of tension on this line. Trim up neatly at the waist. Two more darts on the other side. I'm sewing the darts on the wrong side of fabric. This would be the inside of the garment. Remove the pin to that tip. Let's go in reverse. Back stitch. Trim close. Trim at the top. One more dart. Remove that pin at the waist. Press your foot up. Press your foot down. Hold your thread legs. Needle down. Forward. Back stitch. Remove the pin before you get there. Last stitch. Now we'll go in reverse. Let's go ahead and trim. Nice and close. Up at the waist. And now we have our 4 darts here in the back and our 4 darts in the front. And we have completed step number 1B.